3-game losing streak. 2-7 record without Joel Embiid. That's what the Sixers are on right now.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code all lowercase Locked On every day for a first deposit match up to $100. Hello, my name is Keith Pompey. I'm one of the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers, and it's early Thursday morning. I'm here. I'm in my hotel room getting ready to get out of here in like 30 minutes. It's weird. I'm doing this podcast, and after I finish this podcast, I'm like, do a beeline to get this Uber that's scheduled, and then take the first flight of the day back to Philly. But before we do that, I want to talk to y'all about last night's game. I've been thinking. I've been going back and forth, wondering or not if this was a bad loss. Now, what I mean by that, they should have won the game. The Sixers in the clutch. The Sixers had several opportunities to do something, and they didn't. They just couldn't come through in the clutch. You can say there was a time when Maxey got stripped. They say he got a shot blocked, but it looked like he got stripped with 1.5 seconds left in regulation. Then there was like them being outscored or the Hawks closing out the game in overtime on a 10-0 run. The Sixers, they missed their last 5 shots and had a critical turnover in that point. There was a time in the fourth quarter where Maxey and Tobias just kept missing bunnies. Wow, it was crazy. So you look at it and you say to yourself, like, the Sixers had every opportunity to win this game, and they lost. So they left some golden opportunities. They just blew it. But then you say another thing is now they're 2-7 without Embiid, which isn't good. They have a 3-game losing streak, which is the highest of the season or the longest of the season, right? So there's a lot of things where you say that's negative. But the fact that Joel wasn't there, the fact that Tobias Harris, for the most part, played extremely well, the fact that Maxey was able to bounce back in the second half and have a solid game, I really don't know if I should be critical or if I should praise them for how they played. And again, the weird part is I think that I need to be critical a little bit is because the Hawks with that win are 15-21. They're still one of the worst teams in the East, right? But the Sixers just were able to prevail and able to win. So, I don't know what to do. Now, when you look at it, Kelly Oubre struggled. Kelly Oubre shot 3 from 11 from the field. He had 7 points. He was a -8. He was 0 for 3 on threes, right? You look at Marcus Morris. He had 17 points. He was 4 for 9 shooting, 3 of 8. Now, there was one point where he 3 for 8 on threes. There was a point in the first half where he was 3 of 5 from threes, and he shot 4 or 6 in the first half. So it seems like in the second half he didn't have that production that he had, right, to carry over. Now you can look at that two ways though, because there was a point where I felt like in the third quarter that I was shocked that Marcus didn't really play that much. Because in the second quarter, he was basically the guy. I mean, he was the guy who kept them in the game. But then when the third quarter came, it was kind of like they went away from him. And I'm just trying to get it. So in the third quarter, what he did is he played 3 minutes and 16 seconds. He had 2 points. He missed his only shot attempt, which was a free. He did make 2 foul shots. But I don't know, like Kelly Oubre played 6 minutes, 39 seconds in the third quarter. I felt like Marcus Morris deserved more minutes. I mean, just because he was hot in the first half. I mean, before Maxey came alive in the third quarter with 9 points on 4 for 6 shooting, it was all about Tobias Harris and Marcus Morris. So with that being said, I felt like maybe they could have gone to him a little bit more. Now, the one thing is Mo Bamba played well, better than Paul Reed. So Mo Bamba actually was the guy who got the nod in overtime. Mo Bamba had 3 blocks. They basically utilized his length and everything like that. But, I don't know, man. I just don't. Now, the thing is, the Sixers don't seem to be paranoid, upset. Just that Tyrese Maxey was like, listen, we got to focus on winning. Like, as long as we focus on doing what we got to do, we'll be fine. Nick Batum is like, look, we're going to turn this thing around. Teams go through this. We got a lot of basketball left to play. And it's easy to take that approach, right? It's extremely easy to take that approach based off of with the things we talked about, Embiid not playing, guys not being able to get, sleep or whatever, or things like that, other guys coming off injury. So it's easy for you to come back and say that, right? That it's going to be great. But then you say to yourself now, but you also put yourself in a situation to whereas now Friday's game is Sacramento. Does that become a must-win game? I mean, do you have to win? And then let's face it, like if you win that game, but then you lose on Monday night against Houston, right? Do you say, team isn't really playing well? So I felt like right now, yes, it's early, but I also feel like the Sixers are putting themselves in a must-win situation. Like I believe that they have to win this next game in order for them to, feel good about themselves. I think if they lose the next game, I think it could get a little critical. Because see, here's the thing. We can't think about how Nick Nurse was saying, hey, look, no matter who's out there, we all have to come out there and bust our tail and play. Guys can't use excuses about players not being on the floor. Well, typically when you hear a coach say that, it's kind of like he's like, yo, we need to step up our play, right? So when I heard that, it's kind of like, yeah, the Sixers need to step up their play. So I feel like if they lose again, it could get a little rough for them. It could. I mean, not rough, but it's like a lot of the stuff that they were believed in earlier. Some guys may start questioning things. Not saying they question the coach, but they might just questioning certain things because they're looking at it like, yo, we've been busting our tail, we're doing this, and we're struggling, right? So after this little break, I want to talk to y'all about Marcus Morris getting there. the key to the city today on Tuesday. I'll be there. It's at 2 p.m. at City Hall. I will be there. But before that, I want to talk to y'all about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than 2.6 players stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. With the basketball season here, you can now pick projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that include two or more players from different sports leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of three-pointers made plus receptions. Now, here's something else for you. You want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week, right? So this is what you need to do. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Now I'm going to repeat this. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. So I'm just telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So yesterday, sometimes I go there and, I chat with Marcus Morris. I chat with the other guys. And yesterday at Shoot Around, I got there and, came over. First, I was talking to Jaden Springer, chatting a little bit with him, Paul Reed. And then I go over to Marcus. And we're like talking a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm getting the keys to the city tomorrow." And I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, what's it?" Just joking. I said, like, Philly? And he said, "Yeah." And then he was joking with me, saying, like, "Yeah, this is my city, going on and on and on." But the thing is, what happens is Marcus is getting recognized by Councilman Isaiah Thomas because of, basically what he does. Like, not only is he a role model on the court and the things that he's doing on the court, it's kind of like, Marcus is also does a lot of stuff for does a lot of community work for kids and underprivileged kids and just kids all together via sports and other things in the community of Philadelphia. Now, this says a lot because he and his brother Markeith, they're twin brothers, Marcus and Markeith, never forgot where they came from, right? They don't. I mean, when Marcus plays or when he starts, it's one of those things where they introduce him from North Philly, right? Now, that's something that they do for him, his brother, Kyle Lowry, all these jokers from North Philly, like they want to let everybody know where they're from. And that's what he does. And the thing is, this is a great honor, a huge honor, because this is a guy who, he grew up around Erie Avenue. He reps that hard. But I look at him and I have to admire him because, I knew him when he was in high school. I knew him he was in 11th grade. He was funny though because I couldn't really tell them two apart. But the one thing that I did know is that how I knew who they were because he was always the one that would speak to me. His brother would just keep it moving, but he would always turn around and be like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm talking about they were some tall young boys back then. But now you look at them, and last night I was watching them interact with fans during the game. You listen to his conversations with people in the locker room, and you get the gist that he's very beloved. Like the fans love him, and we're not talking about just black fans. We're talking about all different races. They all love him. They all love him. The team. He's a veteran leader. You look over there and you see on the bench, you see him giving Paul Reed instructions. He's telling other guys what to do. He gets in there. He's taking charge when he's on the court. He's not taking charge, meaning trying to take over a game. But what he does is he whatever his role is for that night, he fulfills it. But the fact that he won this honor, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. And the great thing about it is when he did it, when he told me he won it, he was shocked because he was shocked, but he wasn't shocked. He wasn't shocked because of the stuff that he does, but he was shocked because he won. It's weird. I know that's a weird dynamic, but it's, in other words, he knows the stuff that he does will probably get him recognized by people, but he's not doing it for that. So it was one of those things where he did it from the kindness of his heart, but he didn't do it to get an award. So that's why he's a little shocked that he got the award, because this wasn't something that he set out to do, right? But at the same time, this is what he's doing, what he always wanted to, right? This is what and he knows he's putting a lot of time and effort into it. So yeah, I mad props to him. He's been doing a great thing and all that. So, mad props to Marcus Morris. I wish him a lot of luck. Family over everything. That's his organization. Him and his brother Markeith, and just keep it moving. And he even said he's representing this thing. He's representing him and his brother tomorrow. Now his brother plays for the Dallas Mavericks, so it's one of those things where he couldn't do it. It would have been nice probably if they would have waited until the Dallas Mavericks came to Philly, and then they could probably do something, with both of them. But, it's weird. You never know. Like Marcus, as good as he is, and as good as I think the Sixers be foolish to do so, you never know. He could probably be traded by then. The trade deadline is early next month. But I think they would be crazy to do it, but you never know, right? So when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about Tobias Harris. I want to talk a little bit about what I do. But right now I want to talk to y'all about the Jace case. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinuses, skin infections, among others. This stuff could happen to any of us. Visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medication will be dispersed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. Go to jacemedical.com and use the offer code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order. I'm telling y'all, as they say, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So yesterday rather, was Tobias Harris's first game back. Well, make it like first game back. Well, what he did is it technically was his first game back, but all he did was he missed one game. Like he got injured against the Knicks late in the third quarter, and what happened is he didn't return to the game. He jammed his ankle. He didn't return to the game, and then from there, he didn't play in Saturday's game, right? So he didn't play in the second end of a back-to-back. But last night, he finished with 32 points, which is 1 point shy of his season high, right? He shot 12 for 24. He was 1 for 2 on threes. He was 7 for 7 from the foul line. He had a team high 10 rebounds. He had 4 assists. He had 1 block. And like I said, he was had 32 points. So he played well. There was times in the fourth quarter, though, where I looked at Tobias and he played well, but I felt like he was rushing shots a little bit in the fourth. But for the most part, he played well. Like, he really did. Like, you look at it, he shot 4 for 9 in the first half. He ended up with, shooting 12 for 24. So, things worked out. I mean, he got better I shouldn't say better, but everything was fine. Now, in the fourth quarter, this is the thing. He had 10 points in the fourth quarter on 4 for 7 shooting. 7 of his rebounds came in the fourth. So he was balling. He really was. So you got to give him credit. Now, the thing is, in overtime, I believe he shot 1 for 3. He did. He shot 1 for 3 in overtime. But, I felt he looked good. Now, there was times where he missed bunnies. He was 1 for 3. He had 2 points. He was a -7. But then also Tyrese Maxey was also 1 for 3. He had 3 points. Who else? Kelly Oubre was 1 for 2. Nicholas Batum missed his only shot. That was that huge 3. And Patrick Beverly missed the 3. So that's what it is. That's what it was. So I liked what Tobias did. I felt like he played well. Social media. He missed a bunny. He got his shot blocked time, so people were real critical of that. But I felt like he played well. Now I just want to tell y'all, I wish I could show y'all outside, but I'll have to turn my computer around. But it's like I said, it's like early in the morning. It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm looking now at my phone, not to be rude, but the guy is telling me that he's downstairs. So I'm about to get out of here. I'll have a podcast tomorrow. Hopefully, John will be back. But, it's one of them things I just felt like it was important for me to get y'all something quick, fast, in a hurry after the game. And the reason why I didn't have it right after the game is because I kept going back and forth on this whole thing. Like, is this a bad game for the Sixers, or, yada, yada. It was just a lot of different things. But, hey, they got to work on a couple things, but it's still too early to panic. It's still too early to hit the panic button. It really is. So they'll get it together, and we'll just see how that goes. But I do expect them to get it together. I want to thank y'all for listening. I want to let you know that you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast at. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts at. And, I want you to know that you could go to this YouTube channel. Locked On 76ers. And when you go there, click on the Liberty Bell. You become a new subscriber. From there, you also get notifications once you click on the notifications when we have our next podcast. So I want to thank y'all for listening, and I want y'all to have a blessed day. Peace.